All right, what's up, y'all? It's got that Tulum vibe, yeah? It just got sent straight to Tulum. All right, what's up? What's up, everyone? My brother sent me a playlist he'd been working on for a bit here yesterday, right before I was about to run. It hit different. It hit different for sure. Okay, so go ahead and get this over here. Okay. Just vibing. Honestly, you got to start with some good energy. You get some good energy going, and you're set. Okay. Cool. Hope everyone's doing well. We were live yesterday. We'll be live on YouTube all week this week. Starting next week, we'll be live on YouTube Monday and Friday, and then in the free community. So you literally just have to join the community. We'll be live in there, right? And so yesterday we were already off to a pretty good start. I know we went over, indices as usual, currencies, metals, everything. And we just had a couple miss right in the beginning of the stream yesterday until we set up a few ideas. All right, we had set up a NASDAQ sell, which ended up hitting. And I'm about to show you where it is now because it was an epic trade. And then AUDUSD had a great reaction. I think it went over a 3R. And then we had a couple other Dow Jones setups that we were waiting for. And both of them actually have reacted. Didn't quite go. I think they both did about a 2R. So I'm going to go into them. I'm going to show you guys what we had set up for yesterday as well. You had the ability to collect, honestly, I think well over a 10R. But that's assuming you perfectly exited all of them. I know for most of you, I have recommended you trade a 2R until you build a lot more confidence and you have a ton of data. So if you are following that rule, then I believe all of these have hit for you. Otherwise, it is looking, if it's more discretionary or you're playing off of technicals, then it might look a little different. But let's dive into the chart. Okay, let's see. Feliz día, what's up, Joe? Y chicos, ¿cómo está toda mi gente aquí que habla español, Latinoamérica, España? ¿Qué me cuentan? Quereisha, what's good in Puerto Rico? Corey, Puccini, what's happening, man? Vaughn, what up? What up? Jack, hey, and I'm seeing you guys are rolling through the Tradetopia Launchpad. Some of you going through the Smart Money Playbook. And then I know for the first 100 of you that joined the community, I did have some special things for you guys. I know I'm going to give away a Solana. I'm going to give away 5 50K funded accounts as well. So those of you that were in the first 100 that joined, I will be sending out an email to you guys a little bit later to do the giveaways and to give you guys your exclusive things. So yeah, I'm hyped. We got Vera, what's up? Juan Carlos, ¿qué tal? What's good? Kevin, how do I pronounce your name? Kihaulani? Gonzalo, Omar, Carlos, Dan, what's up, Dallas? Mylen, we got Z here in the house. Leon, Edgar, Friso, Europe pulling up. Ma Franks, hello. Sene, Seth, what's good, man? Daniel Orozco in here. We got Max, Alejandro, Patrick. Morning. Do you set pendings or instant execution? It depends. If I'm trading indices and it's very clear which one is diverging, which one's just the setup that I'm going to take, and I'm watching it, then I can set limits. Otherwise, I will usually do market execution if it's just right there. Dime la máquina. What's up, Ramsey? What's good, bro? Jose, Christian, Luis, What are the symbol names for the indices that you use? The data feeds. Yeah, so this is the official like futures data feed. So this is YM. So if you're trading futures, this is the data feed that you're going to use. If you're trading CFDs, the prices are going to be different. So you will see a difference with CFDs. That's the trickiest part about like the live stream and trading indices. If you are trading with CFDs and you have your own broker, is that, well, the prices are always different with different brokers. So if you're trading with, Owanda or some broker on TradeLocker or whatever, these are always going to be a little different. But if you're trading futures, the prices are going to look identical across the board. And then if you are trading futures, depending on where you're trading, make sure that your data feed is live. If it's delayed, then yeah, you stand no chance. Oh, what's up, Cypress? I see you all. All right, guys, let's crack 150 on this stream today. Let's hit an all-time high again. But the candle structures are very similar. Absolutely, absolutely. What's up, Craig? All right, so let's dive into it. We're about 15 minutes away from New York Open. So let's talk about how price has moved along. And yesterday, I'll start with NASDAQ. NASDAQ's been definitely way more bearish. And yesterday's sell has been pretty damn good. So I went over this sell opportunity about 15, 20 minutes before I ended the stream. And we talked about selling out of the weekly open. And boy, man, we got it. we got it all right. So not going to take credit for this entire move. I did say there was a good chance that we can get into this area, and I did ultimately want buys over here, but I did not hold this whole thing. I took like a 2.5 R counter trend trading. And we were kind of towards the end of the day, so I didn't want to hold for too long. But yeah, the end of the day just melted into some imbalance over here. So if you did take these positions or a position here, this was for sure 100% called on the stream yesterday, and how to manage it, etc. So there's definitely something to learn in that. I think you could start watching that video around hour 35 on yesterday's stream, and you can kind of see the breakdown on why we decided to take this. Beyond that, we had buy setups between NASDAQ or Dow Jones, and as mentioned, you guys do whatever you want, but I choose what indice I'm going to trade based on divergence. So based on basically how strongly it's moving in a direction or the other. And as you can see, NASDAQ has been the stronger bear. So it's just been clawing down and down and down. So if we're going to take buys, I'm going to take buys on Dow because it's just way less bearish. The chances of it holding structure are so much better. And with that being said, every single zone we had here did give us great reactions. So for example, if you took a buy in this area here, your setup ran 2.6, 2.7 R. If you sniped it, let's say you got a decent entry, 2.5 R. So this one presented that 2R minimum. Same thing here with the second zone that we were interested in for buys. This came back down to this area as well where we had some imbalance. So let's say you took this position. Potentially you would have caught some of it. The likelihood is following our stop loss management. Once we get the mitigation, we move the stop loss to the entry. So this one probably would have ended up break even, to be honest. So now we have what we've been waiting for, which has been trading out of the extremes more than anything. And this is kind of what makes the most sense because we have our higher high, our higher low, and then we see, we create a brand new structure over here. The reason that I don't think this is a 15-minute high is we don't really see too much demand over here. So it's just kind of ranging. Then right here, we start to create a totally new atmosphere. So Buenos días, Igle, ¿cómo estás? Okay. So, yeah, with that being said, entonces básicamente, chicos, nos presentó compras y compras, mitigaron las dos veces y ahora aquí estamos esperando la oportunidad. So, absolutely, I do want to take a position in this zone, and more specifically, I'm looking to take a buy in this imbalance over here. So somewhere over here is where I'm looking to take a position. Now, this is really important because it's a bigger zone. This is a much bigger zone. So your stop could look like 135 points, maybe less if you decide to take a position, let's say, or you can even move your stop. You can tighten it up a little bit. There's a good chance it plays out. So let's go look at this area, because this is where everything kind of starts to go down. So let me zoom in on the 5 minute, and we can take a look at what's going on over here. So we have a massive sweep. This was Thursday. So Thursday, end of New York session, we see the market kind of melt away and then just get below all of Thursday's New York session and London session and Asian session. So it just sweeps all of the buyers of the last basically 24 hours until the market then squeezes and continues. As it's doing this, the market's also very efficient. So to me, it looks like we get some very good, healthy price action until we create another imbalance. So getting into this area kind of makes sense. I think the market can rebalance into here and then trade out of this zone. I think there's a good chance we can probably move our stop up to this area right over here. And this would save us about 30 points of a stop. So it looks to me like this is pretty efficient. So adjusting stop to here, I think we have a good chance. Even if you want to just tighten a bit, I think it's worth it to get a better risk reward. So that's kind of what I'm waiting to see here. Básicamente, chicos, vimos la captura de liquidez, acción de precio muy saludable. Entonces el stop loss creo que lo podemos reducir un poco para poder operar y tener un mejor riesgo recompensa. So let's zoom back out now. Let's get the full idea here. So now we're seeing this idea right here. So that sets us up where I think honestly we'll be okay taking a stop like this, just because this is all very efficient. You could even try to get it down to here, but I want to just give myself a little bit more room. So about 105 point stop, and then yeah, trading kind of right here where we've seen a little bit of resistance right in the zone, I think is good. But yeah, about 105 point stop. If we hit this correctly, because here's the 1 hour, just so we have a good indication. If we do get this right, then I think we can get a decent reaction. Now, look at the way that we're moving. Technically, we're still seeing higher highs, higher lows, and then here we started and we got a double top. So this is kind of the range that we're in, this entire range. There is a chance the market wants to go and find this early on in the month, but I'm okay with kind of taking a position here and then letting this trade. At least I think we can get into this imbalance over here, and maybe even over here kind of rebalancing yesterday's drop or part of yesterday's drop. So we'll kind of keep an eye open on how the market starts to move along here, but there's definitely places where the market wants to mitigate and there's liquidity imbalances left behind. So I think us getting at least back over to here for a little over a 2R is a very likely scenario. And then we can just keep an eye on everything else that happens. So here we can get a mitigation, and even over here. And based on the way that it's already working its way down, it looks like we can get a setup here. There's a good chance. Now this still has to drop another 120 points. So we wait now. And if you take a look at NASDAQ has kind of slowed down a little bit as it's approached this area. And I think that's okay. I want to say that there's a good chance that NASDAQ sweeps these lows, those Thursday lows over here. Maybe trades into this imbalance as Dow Jones works its way down into this zone. So that's what I think is pretty likely to happen here. And let's see what this looks like here. I appreciate you guys hitting the like button, commenting here. If you have any questions, just let your boy know. And then if you guys are sharing the stream, appreciate it. Let's get everyone just on the right path. Giving away what people make you pay for. So, okay. Let's see. Live streaming. Okay. Now make sure if you have a head start, right? So you can start to set up your lot size, set up your contract size. Entonces empiecen a prepararlo, sus contratos, tamaño de lotaje. And I want to add, just to get you guys in the right mental state, we're about 5 minutes before New York Open. Remember, however it went yesterday, whether if you traded with me, you should have had a pretty good session yesterday. So the revenge trading side of things really shouldn't even be there. Maybe you missed out on a big play. So don't let that consume you. Don't let that be, just taking up your mental bandwidth or anything like that. One of the things that I see all the time is people want to make up for money that was never even there. So don't allow, this illusion of what you should have made to consume you. All right, so here is futures. We got YM, contracts. I'm just setting up over here. Okay. Cool. All right, I'm all set. So we're ready to strike when the time is right. So since I'm streaming with you guys here and it'll be New York Open, it could be really fast. I do set a limit. And just because it's pretty, there's a massive difference between Dow Jones and NASDAQ. You can see that NASDAQ's already way down here. It's already melting into this zone from Thursday Asian session, whereas Dow is, way up here. So Dow is definitely better set up for this idea, and we'll just pull the trigger when it's ready. We got 3 minutes until it's that time. So we're just about to get here. Let me tone this down because I know these alerts are loud as fuck. All right, and then once you get a little bit closer, I'll have another alert set here too. Okay, cool. Let's see. Any questions so far, guys? Buenos días. ¿Cuántos trades tomas por día o sesión? ¿Arriesgando cuánto en total? I love you so much too, man. Pues el riesgo realmente, el mío pues no importa tanto como el tuyo. Todos tenemos diferentes tolerancias. Yo básicamente arriesgo 0.5% o menos dependiendo de en qué es. Cuentas personales son un poco diferentes. Retos de CFDs y retos de futuros también son diferentes. Por ejemplo, con las cuentas de 150,000 pongo en riesgo 400, que sería un punto 33 más o menos. Y trades de 10 solo depende de las oportunidades que se me presenten. Entonces, a veces 1, a veces 3. Siempre solo depende. Yo no tengo límite en cuanto disparo, porque yo pues opero a probabilidades, eso es todo. Y con el riesgo no me influye emocionalmente si opero 1, 3, 4 veces al día. Let's see. Yeah, my mental this morning was pretty rough because I got stopped out on silver at a 1.5, which I meant to just do 1%. Also, not getting in on the NASA was pretty rough when I realized there will be an abundance opportunity for me. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't you didn't take the sell, you didn't take the sell. Just think about it. We look at a handful of opportunities every day. So if one of them didn't play out, cool. It's like you're in a week, you won't remember that trade. Even in a couple days, you'll forget that trade even happened. Yeah, definitely reset. You just got to remember it's over, you know? Mike, no sueles usar el sell or buy stops en su estrategia como smart money concept. Sueles mejor y recomiendas posicionamiento. Ya nunca jamás en mi vida he enseñado sell stops o buy stops. Personalmente no he encontrado la manera de utilizarlo en que me funcione. No es que no funcione. Limits, yeah. Yeah, I have a limit set right here. I just said that. All right, what's up? Mike, pero la hora de operar, ¿tienes en cuenta la sesión y el horario? Sí. Claro, tiene que haber volumen. All right, guys, New York Open. We're live. It's happening. We're already in the zone right here. It looks like it's starting to react a little bit. Let's see if it's wanting to just lure in some buyers before it pulls back down one more time. So let's zoom in here a little bit. There's a chance that this is it, though. And again, if this just rips without us, don't go getting emotional on me, all right? So we're already seeing a decent reaction. This might play out of like this previous support, these previous lows, and then maybe we come right back down. There's a chance. Otherwise, if this thing just keeps ripping, then it is what it is. The sell-off that we had here was pretty massive. This is about 207 points. So if we start seeing this just absolutely fly like it's doing right now, then let's see right there. It's already pumped 100 points. If this thing keeps on going the way it looks like it's going, then we might be in, this might have been the move. Dow, the reason I was looking for a buy, one, we had a, over here, you can zoom in, but the market starts to sell off aggressively here, liquidating these retail buyers, a whole day's worth of buyers. And then the market quickly rebalanced and created a higher highs. So check it out, guys. Yeah, this is for sure mitigating. Look at the amount that this is pushing. It's a nice trade. About 125 points so far. Looks like it could be the move. Rip to TP within 5 minutes. Yeah, basically. Now let's take a look at Dow or NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has been a lot slower. Way slow. So NASDAQ is actually just giving a lot more opportunities for the sell side of the market. So this on the selling side, there's going to be, in my opinion, I think we're going to get opportunities here as well. So if you look at, for example, we can go and take a look at how NASDAQ was playing out from this zone. We see during London session, NASDAQ spikes up, works its way down, comes back up to here. It looks like we see the close of the buy and then back to the sell. So we do get a nice reaction here. I wouldn't necessarily look to sell in here just because it looks like this already kind of threw down. So when I see this right there, it looks, whoa, what just happened here? Hold on. There we go. It looks like we already got the mitigation here on NASDAQ. So I wouldn't necessarily go for that over there. And even here, it comes up, it just creates more liquidity. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I will be honest with you, though. Yes, we saw Dow start to, obviously fly over here. Huge reaction. 140 points so far. But I'm expecting a bigger move than this because here, over here now, let's zoom in here. We'll use a bar replay tool just so you guys can see the drop. You see, here's where the money comes in. very clearly. Right there, massive drop. Huge drop here. Starts to slow down and then reverses. So this is the exchange of money, in my opinion. So now, going over here, we're actively seeing this setup. The good thing is there's a possibility that, so this was here's where I wanted to take the entry, which was deeper in the imbalance. So I wanted an entry further down. And the market, what it did was, instead of playing out of the imbalance and the structure down here where we had seen resistance before, it played out of our previous liquidity. This is our last point of supply. So right over here is where the market decided to react instead of going a little further. So I think our entry was maybe like 40 points out, which isn't too bad. Yeah, so we wanted an entry here, and then the market reacted there. So yeah, about 40 points. The cool thing is, depending on what happens here, there is a chance if this keeps pushing higher, there's a chance that we still get another buying opportunity, because for all we know, the market could keep climbing. And then, oh my bad, I gotta change this. I will in a second. Hold on. Here we go. So if this creates bullish structure and confirms bullish demand, yeah, we might just see, the market stay bullish. And if we get some confirmation like this, then we might be looking for a buying opportunity over here. So that could totally play out. And we could get something like this. So that's an idea as well. So that's Dow, and then we have Nas. They both reacted really well out of the zone. NASDAQ ends up also still playing out of here. So even if you took Nas or you took Dow Jones, then it played out. If you took NASDAQ, it definitely worked, because this is a really good entry. I wasn't taking Nas here because Dow looked like it had just a way better chance of holding the structure. So I wasn't going to risk it with Nas, even though it had a tighter stop. Because I don't trade prioritizing the reward. I trade prioritizing the probability. That's how I approach it. Let's see, any questions, guys? Long Nas at the 0.25 second. Bro, what? Not even a second? What? What are you talking about, bro? You wildin'. Mike, 2-step or 1-step model, what do you prefer? It depends. I mean, futures are just 1. CFDs are 2. I never really chose to do a 1-step with CFDs. With like funding pips or any of those. I never went about doing it with those. It's a 1-step. But honestly, I haven't looked into it. I could check it out. I'm trading on the MYM1. Data feed and it's lagging like a motherfucker, but I'm in. It's not lagging. You just didn't pay for the market open data. It's like $7. Or if you're trading futures, then you're just going to get it there. Now, the reaction that we saw already, guys, this already did about 160 points, which is interesting. And check it out. NASDAQ is now holding the structure much better. NASDAQ is trading up here. I wonder if we're going to hold this or not. What made you decide to trade Dow Jones over NAS today? I just went over that. Y'all going to test me today. But, okay. So, I prioritize probability over the risk reward all the time. And so, for example, here we have, this is the pullback, right? This is the setup. So you see this went deep into here. Like we're talking 95% pullback. So this is very close. And this was also, as it was moving down, it was pushing pretty aggressively. Then Dow Jones, which had the lows over here, was moving down as well, and it had just more wiggle room. Like there was just more space to give this so it can actually react. So I went with Dow because it had just our stop. We had so much more space for this to play out, and it was diverging. So you see NASDAQ was falling at a faster pace than Dow. So Dow had a better chance to actually staying within the structure. Now, what actually started happening, though, like minutes before we started to see the market play out, NASDAQ started to drop very slowly. So if I had actually responded to the real-time price action, not just the higher time frame, but the lower time frame, we saw NASDAQ was really dropping super, super slow, whereas Dow Jones was starting to drop really aggressively. So that was kind of the sign that NASDAQ was ready to be bought instead of Dow. So when we saw it get into the zone, there was that last-minute chance to see, oh, okay, NASDAQ, the bears on NAS have basically disappeared, and New York Open just played out beautifully, and now we're seeing this kind of move. But that was the reason, was because as we approached this zone, NAS got into that mitigation zone before Dow Jones did. However, right at the very end, NASDAQ's price action slowed down on the bearish side, and you can kind of see the bulls are trying to get in. So, yeah, that's where we're at now. Okay. So, going over between NAS and Dow. Dow right now actually is struggling to push up, while NASDAQ is already breaking these highs. So if you look at the difference between structures, you'll see that these previous highs with NASDAQ have already been cleared. We're already above the previous highs. And S&P 500 is trading similarly to NAS. So it looks to me like we're going to see either possibly get more bullish momentum with NASDAQ, and we may be in the market for buys here later on, because you can see how the market clears these lows and then runs. So, for example, here, we already mitigated that, and then we might be in the business here of buying if we get some pretty good structure. Right there. And guys, make sure that your stream is live. So make sure you're literally live and you're not lagging behind. And then if you look at Dow looks better for sells. So let's pull up Dow Jones. Dow over here. Here's where we had the move to the upside. You guys can kind of see where the market starts to pick up. Leaves a bit of liquidity here, though. So this is not really ideal. However, when we see NAS make a lower low here on the 1 minute, it comes back up. Looks like it kind of rebalances, maybe closes out the buy, and then we see an aggressive short during London session. So is this the best place to sell? It kind of looks like we already got a reaction out of here. So I'm not super in love with selling Dow because of this. This here creates a little bit of confusion. So if this already mitigated and we take a sell up here, it's just going to blast through it. So the other option would be, do you have other selling opportunities over here, which I think we do. So if we can take a look at this over here, you see in this range, the market goes above, makes this high, and then drops. So this might be an area worth considering for a short. Right now, though, Dow is struggling to break through. And if we take a look at NAS is still holding up the structure pretty well. So I would rather just keep seeing the market play out, get enough price action, see if NASDAQ is truly going to stay bullish, confirm its structure, see that there's demand over here, And then we can take a buy instead. So if we get that, then this is going to be a much, much better opportunity for buys later on. So I'm going to set an alert here. We want to see, queremos que confirme aquí estructura. So we want to see something like this before we can look for a buy. We get something like this, and then, yeah, we can probably ride this out. Yeah, I mean, it's like a joke, bro. Did snag NAS with a 25-point entry. Nice. Sell NAS 19,890. No. I'm not going to. I think this already closed out the buy with this pullback right here. So I think this mitigated this liquidity sweep. Big money comes in here. That's why I'm being careful, because I'm not going to... I could see it reject. I can see it. Like, I totally... You know, we had this sweep, the reversal. I would pick Dow Jones over NASDAQ if you want to sell something. But because of what it did here, I'm pretty cautious on the short right there. Back to 3R NQ buys. Let's go, Kevo. So, yeah, guys, like I just mentioned, at the very end, NQ buys, NASDAQ buys ended up being the best RR setup right there. At the very end, even though Dow Jones was moving slower on the way down, before New York Open, Dow started to drop aggressively while NASDAQ was really, really just light price action. So Dow was the one with the biggest... These fucking dogs, man. Well, if you were falling asleep, you're not anymore. Husky versus the Pity. Cozy Boy going for some more payouts. I see you. Let's go. All right. So, yeah. Anyways, Dow is not holding up. And then now we see NAS working its way down again. And also, guys, great job on just holding or taking your profits so many times. Just no profits are held. We just give them right back, right? So what we're seeing right now is the market dropped again. We just cleared liquidity, played into New York Open. This is the New York Open candle, and looks like we're mitigating right now. Instant mitigation off of this New York Open drop. And that's what we're getting right now. So here you have this move. This move right here is about, look, you see that, about 29 points. And right now, looks like you're going to got about 22 points so far. So a nice little reaction coming back down. We might see a buy out of this zone. If it comes back up, comes back to this area, might get a pretty decent play right here. It held up pretty well, and then now this is just a mass liquidity sweep in play. So I could see us getting a decent setup right here. What do you guys think? You guys like a buy out of here? Would you rather stay out of the market? How do you guys see this one playing out? Did this hold enough of a structure? We got above the highs here for about, let's see, 7-8 minutes. Not the longest of times, to be honest. So this might be one of a trade that just kind of bleeds through and goes to to another low. Just because the structure above this wasn't the greatest, but it was trading for a bit, so I can see it. This might be one of those setups where you decide to maybe trade with less risk if you're kind of still feeling it out. On the 15-second, I mean, we could argue we had the push down on the New York Open, so there's definitely a lot of money that comes into the market. You see it work its way higher and, build up a lot more demand up here. Retail gets absolutely obliterated here, and now we're seeing a position. So I took a buy here. stop was about 20 points. And then I think you could target just this imbalance fill for a 2R. Or we can go ahead and target the highs right here, and that'll put you at a 3 and change. Right now, though, the big thing is going to be to manage the stop effectively. We had a nice push here, another 23 points or so. I think that we're going to get at least 29 point mitigation. So this was the drop. The drop usually should, if the reaction should usually match that. If you want to play conservative, then, you could already have your stop at break even, or you're just waiting it out again, and maybe it plays out from even lower. So maybe it wants to play out from where we've seen support over here, and that's the reaction that it wants to give. Again, this is very low time frame movement here, so these trades can fail a lot faster because you're not getting as much demand confirming your direction as you would want. So that's why some of these trades, especially with something like this, where, we traded above here for a bit, but it wasn't like, we were above here for too long. So some of these are definitely more vulnerable to missing out. And also, I will add that Dow Jones actually just got to that level that we were looking at beforehand. So remember how we wanted to see Dow hit our zone here, where we had seen structure before? So Dow might react at it here. Here's where we've seen a little bit more support, resistance. So if Dow rejects out of this zone, maybe that pushes NASDAQ through. But again, that's a big maybe. So at the end of the day, NASDAQ or Dow Jones hasn't really fully reacted out of here. So there might be a shot, but that's why I'm so keen on us talking about, and there you go, just went through that. So that's why for me, it's really important that we think about price action on the higher time frames. So like Dow over here. Dow is now finally playing out of this zone right over here. This was the big sell-off. So we're still within this structure. And over here, let's see. We got Dow giving us, what was this? Like, so Dow did a 160-point move. Still trading within the range, while NASDAQ just broke below. So for me, I'm in on my Dow Jones is active. Yo estoy activo aquí con la compra con Dow Jones. All right. Let's see if it holds up. What are you guys going to do? Are you staying out? We already got decent reactions with Dow Jones. Like, we had a decent one, about 150 points. I was looking at this, and to me, the drop is much bigger. We're looking at 200 plus. So I'm still cool with taking a buy here, and then, letting it ride out. So Dow Jones, higher time frame setup versus NQ that's decided to go and drop another just a bit further down. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. All right, looks like we're getting a decent reaction here out of Dow. My entry ended up actually triggering a little bit lower, but I'm just going to keep it there because that's what I shared originally anyways. So let's zoom back in. Chicos, yo estoy aquí activo con la compra aquí con Dow. And then my stop was about 100 points. Stop, about 105. All right, so let me switch over to here. Manage this position over here. Okay. Something to also remember is that there are no high impact news for the dollar unless something new was added, but I don't think so. So the dollar here today, obviously there's always Trump doing Trump things, but other than that, you have his NZD. So, and we'll go look at NZD a little bit later on because there is unemployment rate and employment change news. So for Forex side of things, might get something decent here. So let me ask you guys, who here is in a Dow setup? Who here? How are we looking right now? I'm in Dow. Okay. Yeah, good call, Cozy. Unless we get accumulation, fire, close out the buy on US30 from earlier. Cool. Yeah, no, mine wasn't triggered yet, so this one is, I'm active in this one right now. In Dow. Buenos días, ¿qué tal, chicos? Full porting. Sick. Aiming for a 2R. Nice. Manifesting all-time highs on Dow. Yo. That would be amazing. Okay, I'm in. Waiting to see if we run lows at 19,750 on NQ. Okay. So NQ is 19,750. It probably will. And this is a good sign. Like the fact that we're seeing NASDAQ looking to push below and Dow is still holding bullish. Like it's still holding it down, the structure. This is a good sign because what we're probably going to see happen is NQ raids these lows right now, which it actually just did. So NQ gets below. A true sweep is going to be a little bit further down. So right now we just basically got right below it, not by too much, but a little bit. But that poke below sweeps a decent amount of retail buyers. And when liquidity is swept, let's say it's like a check mark. Oh, liquidity is swept on this asset class. Now Dow also can just fully continue its momentum. It's almost like enough money was swept, enough liquidity is now opens up the other side of the positions. So now these can run, and we're seeing about 40, 50 points in profit now. Okay, so let's let this thing just do its thing and go from there. Took NQ with half risk. I normally take Indeed. Now in Dow, cool. Okay. Question. I like to go on the higher time frames with the daily and pull horizontal lines on the previous daily candle and box in my playing field to take trades in. Is that a good way to determine range or no? Hold on, let me read that again. I like to go on the higher time frame like the daily, put horizontal lines on the previous daily candle to box in my playing field. Okay. What does that mean? What is that? Why is it relevant, I guess, is my question. I just want to understand. En futuros llegó al punto de entrada, pero en la mía no llegó. La diferencia en precio es grande. Igle, por eso siempre digo que el precio no es lo importante, son las velas, la acción de precio. Entonces la estructura, todo se va a ver igual. Entonces tú dispara no en el precio, dispara en lo que tú tengas. So if you can break down why it's important, then it matters, right? Because we want to understand narrative. So if the daily range, if it means something, then for sure. And obviously I know the answer, but I want to see from you guys. I want you guys to break it down to understand that you're not just trading patterns. You're not just trading candles. You're trading, there's money, right? The exchange of money. There's incentive between the majority and the ones that really move the market. So when you can explain that, then you'll have a lot more conviction in why and what it is that you're doing. All right, Kevin here, dropping nuggets. 163 in the chat. Let's go. All right, we're up right now. So at the moment, if you took a position here with about 105 point stop, then you're sitting at around a half R, 0.5 R right now. So it's looking decent. We like to see this. Starting to rebalance. So I think that we should at least get a continuation to rebalance into here. In my opinion, we should be able to hit. I think we're going to crack above this. I'm pretty sure we're going to crack through this liquidity here. So we should be able to hit a nice little 2R, at least. There's a chance that this keeps ripping, I'll be honest with you. Because now we got below New York Open, right? We got below New York Open. We got below the, and mitigated, we're mitigating the positions. I'd have to show you. It's hard to explain over chat. All right, cool. Where would you take Dow to? Conservative exit. You see this liquidity right here? These highs. You could probably take it to here. If you wanted to, honestly, if you want to go, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely still, depending on, you guys know your data, but you don't necessarily even have to take it to a 2R. The most conservative exit would be right into here at like a 1.3. I don't trade below a 2R. I don't take exits below 2R, but it's a very high probability exit. Either way, though, I think there's a lot of liquidity setting up over here. So I think we can sweep above all this to get at least into a 2R. Now, if we zoom out, though, and we see that the 15-minute candle just closed and the 1 hour just closed here, we're definitely seeing that the market there's really not too much demand below 40,900, and that's been pretty consistent here over time. We've just consistently, we can do a nice push down, but then we just rip up to the upside again. And historically, trading out of this range can give us pretty massive movement to the upside. We've seen it time and time again. We tend to stall out around this 41,100 marker. So you see it here, you see it here, you see it here. So these are kind of key levels where we might stall out, but then there's days that the market doesn't care, doesn't give a shit, and it just continues to rip. So one, don't trade based off of your desires or your hope. I would say allow the market to just go. Considering that yesterday we got so much momentum at the end of the day on the way down, I wouldn't be surprised if we can kind of see that recover all the way back as well. So I'd say I'd probably take a majority at a 2R, and I'm giving you all of the angles, and here's why. The difference is now you're back to trading with the trend. So now you're back to trading alongside the overall momentum in the market. So when we do that, there's a better chance that the market wants to keep flowing. So the target that I have in mind is this. However, if you're trading futures, prop firm futures, you run the risk that it doesn't get to this zone today. And maybe it takes longer. So, for example, like Thursday we had, well, this is Asian session movement. So, but New York, you pumped up to here. Slowed down, came back down. But there's really no reason for it to go back down now. So, like we saw Friday you had price action here. And then it really ripped. So, I'd say if you want to allow small time frame price action to guide you with how the market's moving, then amazing. Right now, guys, you should be sitting at around a 1R, give or take. And yeah, about a 1R. So if you're a 1R, if that's your exit, then beautiful. You just took profit. For me, not quite. Would a good take profit on Dow be the opening candle for the day? Yeah. I mean, okay. This is really important, and I know everyone's at a different phase in their trading. I think there's two main ways to take profit. Well, there's three, but one is way more advanced and it requires just a lot more time. But for example, one, you have a fixed risk reward. So if it hits a specific RR, we'll say 2R, that's just an example, then you're done. You take your profits, you take your winnings, and you're done. Now, what's the advantage of this is that it's the easiest one to actually follow because it's consistent every time. You need to make sure that it's profitable, so you have to do back testing, Take your signature setups, see how they play out. See if a 2R with your trading strategy, if you're taking mitigation model, if you're taking my signature model, a 2R, you're golden. Now, are you going to leave money on the table? For sure. But you're at least going to get it done, which is amazing. And also, it's the easiest way, in my opinion, for you to build. Since it's the easiest to do consistently, then you also build confidence with doing it. You'll build discipline and a good habit. So that's one. The second version is variable, where you're exiting the market based off of for different reasons. So, okay, am I targeting liquidity? Am I targeting an order block? Am I targeting an imbalance? Those are based off of what the market is showing you. So that is a bit more advanced, and it requires a bit more nuance. The easiest way to go about that is just targeting the first, I guess, pocket of money where you could find. In this case, would be something like this, where we're seeing liquidity build out like right here. So targeting something like this would be the first, I guess, smart money concept that you would target. If you're like, okay, well, this is still like overall we're bullish. And the reason this is a great target, even within this, is you're not assuming you're going to get a break of structure. The easiest, most conservative exit is just trade within the recent structure that you're in. So if you wanted the most conservative exit, it would be just within this little 5-minute drop. You're taking profit within the retracement. That's the most conservative. If you feel like you're having confidence issues with your trading, then switching up your exit like that might be fantastic for you. Now, considering that the mitigation we should get should be at least 200 points based off of how it's sold off originally, then I think you can target a little bit higher. I'd say you can target at least 4150. Mike, thoughts on USD CAD buys? Let's see. I can take a look at it. Yeah, sure. So we'll let Dow keep doing Dow things. Básicamente, Javier, lo que te digo es que me preguntan sobre las salidas, ¿verdad? ¿Cuál fue el mejor lugar para salir? So I'll get to USD CAD in a second, guys. Y lo que les digo es que si tienes un riesgo de recompensa fijo, como un 2R, no es el que te da más, pero es consistente y te ayuda con disciplina y crear hábitos buenos, que es importante. Eso es lo que a la mayoría le cuesta, es que en teoría deben de ganar, pero en ejecución no lo siguen. Entonces tener algo fijo ayuda mucho. Pero cuando lo tienes variable, que es salidas de liquidez, salidas de imbalance, salidas de order blocks, ya requiere un poco más de como un toque especial, más reconocimiento y como controlar tus propios impulsos. Por eso es que primero empezar con salidas fijas, desarrollar disciplina y buenos hábitos que realmente puedes seguir tu plan, y de ahí puedes avanzar a salidas de liquidez, salidas un poco más intuitivas. Okay. Daniel, yeah, that's correct. I went of hourly structure. Cool. I typically go for equal highs, lows for TP. Yeah, and I like that approach, Joe. I'd like that approach for sure. Okay, so we'll let Dow YM just do its thing, and then we'll focus on everything else. So, okay, yesterday with NZD, I talked about how in AUD USD went. So this trade I sent to you guys, did anyone take AUD USD yesterday? This did just shy of a 3R. So I know the 2R was hit on this one. 2R was hit on this one. Dropped down one more time, and looks like now I think it's going to go target this liquidity. This might actually be a new setup as well. And second trade that I talked about was this, and this already played out just now. So I don't know how many of you took this setup, but I talked about NZD shorts yesterday. And I said, wait for this structure. This is crazy. I literally, except for the exit wasn't as aggressive, but we had, this was the setup. So it was a sell here and then counter trend. So, our rule for counter trend trading is a 2R. So that's the Tradetopia counter trend exit is a 2R. So this here, if you followed along and you were up for this hit the 2R. It actually went to a 3.5R. And this is playing out of the previous levels of resistance right there. That's my signature model. So this went as far as a 3.5R, but counter trend hit a 2R. So this one also literally gave it to you guys step by step. Drop, make sure the market gives us lower lows. If you weren't convinced on the structure, which I honestly understand if you weren't, then I don't think this is a bad trade to actually leave behind either. So if you didn't take this, I don't even think it's too bad of a trade not to take, just because the lower low was pretty brief. It was like maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But if you liked it, then it smacked. NQ buys and profit. Let's go. Second time would have triggered me in. I went ahead and took profit. Nice. You think it will just run through now, or is that a re-entry? Run through now. Like through here? So we're about 150 points in profit. Nice. And then with your stop, if you haven't already, I would definitely move this stop into at least break even. Targeting 19,900 on NQ. Yeah, I like the exits in here. I like this imbalance exit for sure. Good stuff. Yeah. And what's cool is like everyone here has different approaches, like slightly different tweaks to the entry. It's amazing to see. So yeah, let me just go check my stuff right here. All right, this one's good. Okay, good there. Let me move my stops over here. I'm trading 2 accounts, so 1 second, guys. All right. All right, and then this one. All right, cool. So, yeah, now the first exit here is a 2R. This is the official, just like the easy conservative exit. This is the one that I know most of you. So this is officially mitigated. And I guess if anything, if you wanted to exit, there you just got it right there. Technically, this would be a little short of a 2R. You'd be looking at like a 1.7, but I think we're about to hit the 2R metric here. And I know for a lot of you, based off of the plans that over time some of you have built, and based on the phase that you're in with your trading, this is the exit that you're looking for, which is a 2R. And if I'm not mistaken, I know some of you guys, based on the conversation in the free community, which if you're not in the free community, I don't know what you're doing with your life right now. The hottest community right now. By the way, guys, we're already in the top in one day. We're in the top page of the school for trading. Day 1. W. There you go. All right, so make sure you're joining the free community if you're not already. I'll drop the link right here. Post this. Someone said this because I just joined. That's why it's the hottest. Okay. I like the confidence. Talk that shit. Amen. WWW's in the chat if you ate on the US 30 buys. Nice. 4R secured on US 30. Sheesh. 2Rs, 4Rs. Yamane went with this tighter stop. Yamane, I'm just going to throw you in here, bro. You're going crazy right now. Let's go. Some fires. All right. Also, guys, if you are getting W's, remember, in the school community, let me go pull this up here. In the Tradetopia exchange, go ahead and share your wins here, right? We have the wins tab for a reason. We want to see what you're doing. And we don't just celebrate, take profits. We celebrate discipline, going through the process, doing things right. And even if you lose, but you did it the proper way, you went about it in ways that you hadn't done before, where you struggled with maybe before in the past. This is what we want to see. All right, so share your wins in here. I know a lot of you hit odd USD. We're seeing some withdrawals. People are passing accounts. It's been amazing to see, right? It's been absolutely amazing. So it looks like we're just shy of a 2R. Okay. So we'll let this just kind of keep moving. Dow is pushing a little bit faster than NASDAQ at the moment, and that kind of made sense. You saw the mitigation start with Dow Jones first, then NASDAQ swept liquidity and started running. So right now we're seeing the rebalance. We're seeing a natural, as soon as it rebalances here, you kind of see the natural pullback. It's to be expected. Same thing here. We're seeing resistance before, so you get the last little bit of sellers that get lured in one more time. I think this is about to rip again and continue its momentum. So, yeah, we'll see from here. So I'll let that keep doing its thing. Now with NZD USD, this has been very, very bullish. So this to me looks like we might actually have a buy setup playing out later on. Seeing NZD clearing the highs from Monday. AUD USD is definitely not there yet. Euro, not quite as well. And then you have GBP USD. He's on fire. So out of these other dollar pairs, GU is definitely the most bullish. So when it comes down to buys, GBP USD or 6B for my futures traders, this is the one that looks best. All right, guys. So 2Rs have been officially wicked. So if you had a 2R set, you should have just hit and take profit. Put some TPs in the chat. This community is fire. Up 2.5R. Excellent. Took profit. Amazing. 2R and S&P. Nice. I'm going to hodl this joint. Run it up. Run it up. Toilet paper. There you go. Hey, we had to pay for yesterday's tacos. You know what I mean? Hey, look. Here are the metrics. Here are the metrics. A 2R, that's tacos. We got tacos. You hit a 3R, now we're getting burritos, right? We hit a 4R, it's a whole enchilada. And then you hit a 5R and beyond, you're feeding the whole family, it's a fiesta. Salió palos tacos de 5 de mayo. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm going to hodl this hoe. What'd you say? Una taquiza. All right, hold on. We hit TP. You know, I'm gonna get some music going. I got to get my whole streamer vibe going. When we lose, it's got to be really dramatic, sad music, even though it's part of the game. So I guess it doesn't really match. I do need to keep this. I need to keep our dopamine levels okay. All right. We've been here, right, guys? We've been doing this. So, okay, now you see this, right? It's going into imbalance. So in here, there's a chance that it rebalances and then drops a little bit. And then if you look at NAS, it's doing the same thing. So it's going to target these zones. This is kind of where everything gets defined. Right now, this is very important. How we play out of here is going to determine kind of what happens next. Why wouldn't you move your stop loss to 2R and let it continue? You could. There's nothing saying you can't. Definitely nothing saying that you can't. And then if you zoomed in, if you moved it to 2R, then you have like basically no wiggle room. So I wouldn't necessarily move it to 2R, but maybe into a 1R. Because if it goes up to here and then we just lose this momentum quickly, then we can tell, okay, there's no demand here. The market maybe just wanted to target liquidity, and then it's done. So I do agree with giving yourself some, moving your stop into profit. I'm totally in agreement with that. I like that. What I will add is if you keep it too tight, though, the market's just naturally going to, it's gonna fluctuate. So you don't want to keep it too tight and then kind of get in your own way. But I definitely agree. So right now, considering that NAS is lagging behind, I think that we're going to be okay with Dow, and this is going to keep running. If I was in a NASDAQ buy, this is not a bad place to take something off the table. Just because it's lagging behind a little bit, so it's going to constantly move up a little slower. So, right around here, these 19,890, right around there. I like that. Cool. I'm going to set an alert here with I'm curious to see once NQ clears this high right here, what it does. This is what I want to know. And it just did. So there we go. So cool. Now we're getting into this area. Dow is pushing very, very nice. And because of how everything played out yesterday with Dow, I feel like we're going to basically recover yesterday's price action. So we're flying to a 3R right now, it looks like. So here's the next. This is the burrito target. Not just a burrito, but you also get an horchata. This is really the big one, though. Right in here. Right in here. Yo, I'm cutting when everything has to do with food. So just like that, 19,893 was tagged right here. So you saw that nice little push. Now it's losing a little bit of momentum. This is typical imbalance fills. So the market rebalances here, just like you saw earlier. It rebalanced in here. You get a little bit of a pullback. So it happens again, get a little bit of a pullback. If you have higher targets, then don't let these little drops kind of psych you out. So this already kind of did its thing. It doesn't look like it's going to hold, so I think this is going to keep pushing. And guess what, guys? If you are like, man, I'm getting uncomfortable, I kind of want to just take profit, and you already are doing pretty well, that's fine. Because at this point, it looks like the market is setting us up for a new setup in the future anyway. So you're going to have another type of opportunity later, because we got this moment now too. We saw the drop, that last big sweep down. You get this one here. This is really saturated. Hold on. Can't be. This is too much. What are you doing? We get it. You're here, but you can chill out. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So after the little imbalance drop, it looks like it's kind of picking up again, and this should be able to run smooth. So here is the 3R exit. And horchata. We gotta have fun, We gotta enjoy life here. It's not that serious. Okay, so let's see. Who's holding? Who already took profit? Who already locked it in? So I'm like, bull time. What are you doing cutting, bro? Stop. Need to add a margarita. What is streak? I want Wagyu. Wagyu, what's the R for that? You might need a 10R for a Wagyu. Where my tortas at? Yo, Steven. Pórtate bien, bro. He said, where's my tortas at? Am I holding? Yeah, I'm still holding. I'm still holding right now. Look at that. Nas fighting for these highs, looking to clear them. Dow doing something similar. Starting to lose a little bit of speed, though. Okay. So here's where you can go into small time frames, and you want to kind of get, if you want to see, some extra perspective. You can go a little bit slow, down a little bit. You can get a different perspective. At the end of the day, guys, we've cleared liquidity. We've cleared these highs. This is where the market can start to determine, okay, are we going to, really confirm demand, which it looks like it could. We've already been trading here for a bit. We went and traded into this order block right there. This is why it's reacting the way it's reacting at the moment. And if we're looking at yesterday's price action, remember, yesterday we started here. New York Open did his thing. And right now it's actually traded out of yesterday's, basically read it into yesterday's New York Open. Had a nice little move. And then by the end of the day, we ended up consolidating and trading here. This ended up building up liquidity, not just for buyers, but also for sellers. And then you have the imbalance over here. And the market was just working its way during Asian session, all of this. So at the moment, we've cleared now London session. We're in the process of reaching those London session highs. That's kind of like what this was. This was like London Open right over here. So it's kind of going into that range. But that's why I was saying, like, guys, these are great places to take your money. NASDAQ as well. NASDAQ went and cleared that 19, just wicked above this high, and then doing its thing. So if at this point in time you're starting to think, man, I don't want to leave all this money behind, I don't want this to reverse on me, now you have to consider, okay, what was the initial motive behind your trade? Why did you want to hold it longer? And because remember, you're not just trading RR. You're not. You're trading risk reward and probabilities that things happen. So the probability factor is just as important. Steak and lobster. I took TP on Audio USD. I think a retrace is possible. Nice. Yeah, you should have. Holding to feed the FAMO. Don't want to get greedy. Amazing. And you shouldn't. I took 2 trades, closed one, held the other. Wagyu brisket hits. Nice. Holding 41,300. That's my target. 41,300. Okay. So sweeping these highs. All right. This is a big move, guys. This was right now, we saw the market give us, 300 points? 300 points on stream. About to start coaching, but one thing I realized with myself is I was masking fear with gratitude and letting trades play out. I was masking fear with gratitude and letting trades play out. I would TP early, claiming gratitude over the result versus trading with conviction without fear and letting trades play out. There's value in that. There's a big, actually, let's break that down. So we'll get into, what time is it, man? I've been here for 90 minutes almost. So there's a lot to talk about there. And I really want to go into that because I think this is a big, big thing where we mask, we worded it perfectly. We mask fear with gratitude. We convince ourselves that we're grateful because it sounds nice, but in reality, you're just afraid, or it's actually a scarcity-based mindset. Now, if you have already determined what your exit's going to be, what your targets are because of your system, then that is what it is. But if you have a specific target in mind because of your system and you're cutting it short, claiming gratitude, then in reality, all you're doing is rationalizing. You're using a high frequency word or high frequency, thought and emotion you're using that, but only to replace, or not even replace, but to get away from what you actually need to deal with. So, for example, if there are fears in there, why? Is it because you don't actually believe that you can, that you can hit it, even though you already, in theory, your data tells you should be able to? Is it because maybe you just don't have the confidence in your skills? Is it because when you see money like that, is out of your belief system? It's out of your realms of awareness and things that you're comfortable with. So when we start to understand it and can come down to it and just literally define it, okay, in reality, I'm cutting myself short because the last 5 trades have been outcomes that you didn't want. So when it's like that, then you have to, one, define it, like really get specific. And then once we have that, then we can work through it so that you can hit the risk reward you're supposed to. Now, if your plan is a 2R or a 1.5R because that's a high probability, your win rate is good, and that's profitable, then amazing. Perfect. You're doing it exactly how you should. But if your data is telling you, yo, you can let these winners run, and you're not, then don't lie to yourself. So don't use high frequency words that are really just a crutch so that you don't have to deal with reality. Okay. That's my TED Talk. Okay. Thank you, Yamane, because that is really, really high level thinking right there. All right. So at this point, guys, we're starting to see a little bit of choppiness over here. I know right now is the last, what do we say? These last 10 minutes have felt like a long time because suddenly the market started to stop, slowed down, resistance is building, liquidity looks like it's building, sellers are starting to get induced into here, and even if you do want to take profits out of the market, do it. That's fine if it's what you're supposed to do. If you're already supposed to be out of the market, but you're holding on because someone else guys, that's not how we do it here in Tradetopia. You don't trade anyone else's system. Trade yours. Doesn't matter what else is going on. You want burritos? Too bad. Take your tacos if that's what you're supposed to do. Mañana estamos en vivo también. You know what's funny? So I can see the stats, right? I can see the metrics. As soon as we start talking about mindset and not charts or money, like these numbers just dip every time. It's so funny. People are like, wait, hold on. My goldfish brain can only handle so much. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to look through some of these other ones. Taco Tuesday. Oh, nice. Didn't even think about it. Okay, so GU working its way into here. I'm not looking to take anything there. Looks like Euro is shorting nice. Okay. Anyways, I know I was asked about USD CAD. USD CAD and buys over here. I believe this was the conversation. So let me zoom out a little bit. And we had that last sweep below, and this clears quite a bit. So we actually work our way all the way down to here. So these last point of supplies, mitigation at a 1.3760. And then you're asking about entries. Could we look for buy setups over here? I don't love buys with USD CAD only because we're really struggling to get out of this market. It's just squeezing like crazy. Big squeezes. So when the market squeezes like this and we're not getting higher highs, we're not confirming bullish demand, I don't like to get caught up in this. So I'll stay out of USD CAD. Same thing with USD CHF. There's just, the dollar's just building up so much liquidity here that I'd rather not deal with this and just get very, very high conviction, high quality setups. USD JPY still working its way down. This is the one that I'd prefer to trade. Would be some dollar yen buys down here. All right, Dow still cooking, about to hit that 3R level. And then NQ Still pushing. I'm done for the day. Yeah, I don't think there's really that many decent setups. I'm good right now with the market. I think we're all set in stone here. Yeah, so we already reacted to this right there. Play it out of that order block. The next would be some of this imbalance fill, and then you have liquidity to deal with, which is all of this. Now this is all Asian session chop. At this point, though, remember the market's already given so much. Quite a bit here in one session. So, for example, yesterday the session gave about 370 points. Right now, the session's given us already 350 points. So 3R smacked. Do you need to keep pushing this further and further? That's up to you. Personally, I'm going to take my winnings here, and I'm going to call this a good session. So another good session, guys. 3R on that. And then let me close these out over here. Cool, lock it in. I'm leaving 10% of my trade running right now. But I'm doing that only on my CFDs account. Okay. And then I'm still swinging a very small position on AUD USD. That one's up like 120 pips or something. So the two buys that we caught from last week, those are ones that I still have running. Okay, so gold been just super bullish the last couple days, doing its thing, almost at this sell zone that I have here. And guys, if you got some wins in the free community, drop them in there. If you can do anything for me, I want to see y'all winning. If you pass the funded account, let me know. If you if you're just getting better and better, you're seeing the setups more clearly, you're getting more disciplined and following your plan, just share. We'd like to see your guys' progression and what works better for you. Burritos and tacos for the fam. There we go. Done for the day. My top step combine is back at break even. Nice. Well done. Well done. For some of y'all, it might be withdrawal day today. All right. So with gold here, as we've been waiting for a bit, here's another setup. Let me actually start writing these out. I know I haven't been doing that. So gold pending here. So let's get some of these going. So today's the 6th, right? So May 6, 2025, we have gold there. Right, trade, Topia, trades. Okay. Nice. We might have just taken a really quality exit here. Sick. Right at yesterday's New York Open. Key levels there. Key levels. So this is the short. This is a massive zone on gold, so I would wait for some sort of distribution on a smaller time frame. And then let me pull up USD/JPY because I do have this one in mind as well. So continuation on this. We talked about USD/JPY yesterday, so I won't go too much into that. If you want to see the breakdown in USD/JPY, then yesterday's session has it there. I'm in that, just wanting to know where he wants to reviews. Oh, in the here, just fill out one of these. Fill it out. Let us know how it went today, and then under category, just put under the wins section right there. Wins. Drop it in there. Yeah. Much love. Appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time out of your day to do that. Silver still pushing. Nothing much to see there. We have natural gas. For those of you that were trading with futures, this did a nice rejection from this zone, and then Let me pull up the current data feed right there. Then we have a second zone right here. So for those of you trading natural gas on the energy side, I know a lot of people don't trade energy plays, but yeah, I think we have something decent over here. Played out of this right here just now. Decent. But we had a sweep of liquidity. The market has traded below for a good day. I think we can get a little rejection here. I would have a conservative exit if you're going to be selling against natural gas. So probably a 2R exit, but this does look solid. So I'd say something like this. Something like this on natural gas. And then, honestly, you probably could stretch it to 2.4, but I'm going to keep it at a 2R. Okay. All right, so we got natural gas. I'm sure crypto's got to be running today too. Out of S&P with the 4R. Nice. I need 3% more to pass the second phase. Nice. Good stuff, Joe. Fighting it out. That puts us to Mexican peso, which has just been bullish. I don't really have any setups here, though. It's just kind of been boring. Really, really boring. Sol, the reversals have been really minimal with Bitcoin, or with crypto. So that's kind of giving me a sentiment that we might actually be selling off again soon with crypto. The ETH buys that we talked about yesterday, did I share this chart yesterday or no? I think I might have forgotten to. Hold on, let's see, where's ETH? So if you guys all want to check, you can always check all the categories. So under Tradetopia trades, this is where I have to post this first, right? All right, so I'll do that later. Let me also remember to give you guys this setup here. So this is done. It's a wrap. Trade's over here. We pinned the high on this too. Yo, we really order block done. It's a wrap. If we hold this a little bit longer, I do like the buys on Dow. And I think here's where we've seen a lot of support in the past. 40, 90, 45. So I like the setup. I like the buys around this area. You see the big sweep down. We already played out of here too. So from here, I think trading in this zone looks good. So 4, 9, 45 or under. Saw some support right there. I think we can get a good play right around here. Stop below the low. This is assuming that it drops at a slower pace than NASDAQ, okay? Which I don't know which one it's going to be. It could be NQ. It could be Dow. So we'll stay on the lookout here for either of these. But if we're zooming out, the market likes to reverse around 4930, 4930-ish, right around the zone, 4900. That's like the common reversal area for a setup here. So I'm gonna go with 4930. The stop's gonna be about 85, I'll say 90 points or so. And then the next target is gonna be, for me, those Asian session highs. Now that's if Dow plays out. Otherwise, this might be a NQ play as well. So it's going to be one or the other. But this is considering if it's Dow, we have it here. Okay, so YM, aka US 30, or NQ Nas 100. And the reason I don't really go over NASDAQ is just because, or S&P too often, is because it's usually somewhere in between. And then here is that last push down. So NAS looks really nice because it really starts to drop from like right there. So this gives us a tighter range. Only thing I keep in mind is whether the market will just kind of the pacing, what's going to move here. So whatever gets to the zone last, that's really the winner for me. And then with all that being said, I'll take my position somewhere right here. So probably give about a 25 point stop. 27.5. And then our potential looks very good. Very, very good. We'll see. Right? We'll see how this one plays out here. If we're going to target those Asian, this isn't even, yeah, we're just way behind. So this might be a very, very, very big trade. Okay, 10R. We'll see. Our last sell-off on NQ, if we would have just held it through to our key zone, was a 20R. So a couple trades, you know. Okay, so here we go. And then let me add this to the community here as well. I'll be taking whichever gets to the key zone last. Trade the lagger. Okay. And other than that, I mean, that kind of wraps it up. Up 3 on the week, 3%. Nice. Okay. That's basically it, guys. I think it's just oil, and I haven't been trading oil. I've been out of this. So it looks like maybe higher time frame accumulation starting to set up. But that's it, guys. So much love. We had about, I think, throughout the stream, over 500 people on the session. So grateful. If you were plugged in early enough, then you were able to take a nice DAO setup. And right now, everything else, currencies-wise, it looks pretty boring to me. A little bit here with maybe gold later on and the yen, as was mentioned over here. And so let me go ahead and post this in the community. The link to the community is at the top. And then just comment if you took anything today. And then we'll do a stream recap as well in here. But yeah. So share your breakthroughs. Share anything that made sense or clicked with you. Appreciate you guys. And actually what I'll add is the winner of the day, right? So winner of the day. YM US 30, and that was this one right here. Gracias. Yeah, no, I'm basically done for the day. The only way I could possibly take a trade is if I get this one, and I have my alerts. So right now I'm basically going to just step away from the screen and then go from there. So this was the setup. Here was the stop. And then the exit was right over here. Got a nice little 3R. All right, this was the winner today. Today's winner. And this is the one for the future. So today we get to eat, well, I won't eat burritos, but y'all can eat them for me. All right. Much love, y'all. Appreciate you for being here. We'll be back here again tomorrow. All right. Peace.